Hello, you guys. It is Crystal Lopez from crystalandcomp.com. Again, like 3 videos in a row. Who am I? Who am I? I'm really trying, guys. Really trying hard. All right, so I'm going to share a recipe with you today. I've shared it in bits and pieces in other videos that are here on the channel from the past, but I've never just said, okay, we're going to dedicate a video to showing you how I do sheet pan veggies. So that's what we're going to do here. This past week, my mom and my sister-in-law and 2 of my sister-in-law's kids came to town for a couple of days. They were here for a track meet that ended up getting canceled. But we ended up having a great time. My sister-in-law is actually, if you follow my blog, she has worked with me for years. She does all of the deal stuff and the gift guides and writes a lot of the education content. So she's awesome. She's like a sister to me. I love her so much. They were visiting. It was a great time. You're going to see her in and out here. She is doing like little hand puppet things, and I'm dropping onions. She's picking them up. It's kind of awkward recording this while you're trying to cut stuff. And I don't mean awkward as in, oh my gosh, this is awkward. It's like the setup. I don't know how else to set this up. So I've got a camera, not a camera. I've got a ring light right in my way. So I'm having to like cut off to the side. I keep knocking things off. It is what it is. Anyway, we are making these sheet pan veggies. I make these all the time. They're very versatile. Honestly, if you just have odds and ends of vegetables in your refrigerator, throw them on the sheet pan and bake them. They're fantastic. I'm going to show you some secret tricks that I do. It makes them absolutely delicious. Sometimes I do just broccoli. Sometimes I do broccoli, carrots, and peppers. Sometimes I add cauliflower. I add whatever is in my fridge, honestly. This is such a forgiving and versatile side dish. So we fed 19 people total, okay? It was my sister-in-law, her 2 kids, my mom, and then my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and my mother-in-law's brother who lives with them came to dinner. And then me and my 5 kids and Lenny. And then another cousin who is from DFW but is staying in San Antonio right now learning air conditioning. He actually already has a certification, but he needs, you got to learn under people that are, it's not required to do like an apprenticeship, but that's basically what Lenny's doing. When you go to HVAC school, it's all in a controlled environment. So you need to be in a non-controlled environment where, who knows what's wrong with the system, and you got to really figure it out. Anyway, so he's here. It's actually Lenny's twin brother's son. And so he came to dinner, and then Kelsey and David came by after soccer, and Sophia and Christian. So that's 19 people total. Pretty sure every single person, Kelsey may not have eaten. I think she said that she had, I don't remember. But this fed a lot of people is my point. Get to the point, Crystal. That's my point. You'll see that we also had a side salad, and we had watermelon and other things. But this went really far. It's a great it's a great side for feeding a bunch of people. If I'm using onion, I like to start with my onion on the bottom because it kind of caramelizes and it lets out yummy aromas and juices as it's cooking, and it kind of mixes in really well with all of the other veggies as they kind of start to shrink and fall down while they're baking. Okay. Also, I'm in love with this new cutting board. I really wanted a new cutting board that wasn't plastic because honestly, Kelsey's kind of gotten in my head about microplastics. She's so on top of all that stuff and very researched about it. And I'm like, okay, I know plastics aren't great. And actually some of you guys have left some comments like, why do Americans use so much plastic? And those are very valid questions. Anyway, so I got this cutting board. I got it on Amazon. One that was comparable at Williams Sonoma was like a car payment. So I was like, yeah, not doing that. So I ordered this one on Amazon. I love it. I am learning how to take care of it. Like I bought this mineral oil that's for cutting boards or for wood care. I clean it and then I wipe it down with that, but I don't wipe it down every time. I think I know what I'm doing, but maybe not. If y'all have any tips or anything I need to know about how to care properly for this, I'm doing my best job, but I mean, I think I'm doing it right. Anyway, I've also seen that they make some like creamy butters to put on your cutting boards. Have any of you guys had any experience with that? I would love to know. All right. So those little peppers, you can get them anywhere. Those came from Sam's. Every grocery store carries them. My kids really like those. I have certain kids that really, really, really like the peppers to be on the sheet pan veggies. So we made sure that we did that. If I was making this just for my family, I would not do a whole bag of broccoli and a whole head of cauliflower plus the peppers and all of that. I would only do half of the head of cauliflower and half of the bag of broccoli. And then it would, then we get 2 sheet pan sides out of this. How do you cut your cauliflower? Do you break it down into little flowerets or whatever, or do you cut it up with a knife? You can buy it pre-bagged, but of course you're going to pay more. And Costco carries it pre-bagged and cut up where Sam's doesn't. So since I had shopped at Sam's, I bought that 2 weeks ago and needed to use it up. So here we are. I knew that my family was coming into town and that this would be a great side dish to have. All right, so here's our broccoli, and it's gonna look like I'm overfilling this, but this all cooks down. And again, we need a side that's gonna feed 19 people, okay? So here we go. I'm just evenly putting it on here. And then we're gonna put olive oil on top. Now, if you wanna use, I've used avocado oil, I've used infused flavored olive oils, whatever your favorite oil is, you're gonna drizzle that on top. And then the secret ingredient is the amazing Montreal steak seasoning. I don't remember who told me this. I feel like it was my hairdresser probably 8 years ago, 7 years ago. She told me use that Montreal seasoning on your veggies that you do in the oven. And she was not wrong. So we're just drizzling. We don't want to overdo it, but we want to make sure. And then you can kind of like take your hands and move it all around to get it evenly coated. But honestly, it's fine. Now, I will tell you this Montreal seasoning, you don't want to overdo it because it can get too salty. You want to be careful. So I just make sure that I evenly shake it all around. You do the hokey pokey, just kidding. So we're just making sure that we're evenly getting it on there. And then you're going to bake it. I bake it at about 395 until it's done. So I'll just put this in when my meat goes out on the grill, right? So there it is before. Look at how delicious that is. So yummy. So side note, let's take a little side quest real quick. Lenny went and bought chicken. These are the chickens that we ended up cooking that night for dinner. He bought $50 worth of the chicken that was on sale. So these were the barbecue, pre-barbecue flavored chicken. The quarters and legs were 99 cents a pound. So he bought however many is there. And then, so $3.83 for all of that. And then the lemon pepper was not on sale, but it was $1.49 a pound. So we grilled 6 packages of all of this. And then I think 2 packages went in the freezer for another night. Okay. But I already know that we go back and buy more to stock up in the freezer before the sale ends, which that'll be in another video. Okay. See, I'm doing good, huh? Here's the veggies. They look fantastic. My grandkids love those. When they come over and have dinner, they love them. All right. So pretend that the veggies are still in the oven because at this point they are. I have rice going in the Instant Pot. That's the best way and easiest way to make rice if you're making plain white rice. The chicken's finishing up on the grill, but I've got all of these lemons. We buy a lot of stuff in bulk, right? And these lemons are about to go bad. They're getting a little mushy. So I want to make sure that I use them before or do something with them before they go bad. So I decided, since I had my cutting board out and I had a few minutes, to just go ahead and juice them all. So I'm using I've had that Pampered Chef juicer for 25, gosh, 27 years probably. One of my first apartments is when I bought that. Anyway, we're going to juice all of these, and the riper they are, I mean, you get everything out of there. Do you see that? There's nothing left. No mercy for the lemons. I know my nails are out of control. I have tried to make an appointment to get in with my girl. She's been busy. Her days off are my best days. Blah, blah, blah. My nails are bad. And I'm kind of thinking maybe just go al natural for a while. I don't know. I also hate doing that because then my cuticles get all bad. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So I need to try to get in with her. I had to cut them down because they were so long and I couldn't type. All right, you may notice that as we're doing this, there's lots of pulp coming off of the lemons when we're juicing them. So I do have to kind of, all of the pulp is collecting there on top and it's preventing some of the stuff from going through. So I got to make sure I get some of that off, which I do. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use some of this to make homemade salad dressing or if I'm going to use it for marinade. I honestly could have squeezed a couple of these over all those veggies. That would have been yummy too. And I don't think I've ever done that. If I have, it's been a while. But I need to get all of these juice. So for now, I'm going to put them in a mason jar and I'm thinking, what do I want to do? So I set it in the fridge and let it stay in there. And then a few days later, I decided I would freeze them. I would freeze the juice, but I didn't want to freeze it all in one container because I want to be able to get what I need as I need it. So I think you're going to really like how I froze this, and it would also work for homemade chicken broth if you don't use the chicken broth quick enough. Everything I'm reading says that I should be using the chicken broth that I make within like 3 to 5 days. I don't know. I really feel like you could go a week or more. I've read that you can I guess reconstitute, well, I guess that's not reconstituting, but reboil it. I've also heard that you can boil it down into a paste and then it's like making your own better than bouillon paste kind of thing, and it's very concentrated. Um, I made a lot of broth this last time, and I need to identify and determine the best ways to make sure that I have it. I was thinking about freezing it the way I'm going to freeze these this lemon juice. It's a little bit of work, but remember, we got time or money. So the things that are convenient usually cost a lot of money. This takes my time. This is not super convenient, right? But it's going to save me money, and I don't want this stuff to go bad, and I don't want it to go to waste. So we're going to get all of this put in the jar, and then I'm going to come back in a day or two, and I'm going to freeze it in little silicone. I've got silicone, like half ball shape silicone things that are for making hot chocolate balls. And I thought, you know what? I could make little discs of lemon juice that then I can freeze, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then pull them out of the freezer as I need them. That's a lot of juice. Can you believe I got all that juice out of there?
It's a lot of juice.
It's a lot of juice.
When life gives you lemons,
what do? When life gives you lemons, what? Make lemon juice. Stick them in your bra. Oh my gosh. Yes, dinner is done. Dinner is done.
Done.
It appears that even Lenny has said dinner is done, but he just didn't tell us.
I'm testing it again. I'm testing
Yeah,
it.
turn it off.
to make sure it's
Oh, and there's a fly.
what's the verdict?
How is Dr. Pepper? You may have one.
I got people. Rice done.
Oh, the rice has been done. All right, so everyone is patiently waiting for dinner. That watermelon, Lenny had put ice in it to keep it cold. We've got salad. You've seen everything. Rice, chicken, there's the delicious bread. We get that bread. We buy the French bread for $1, fresh baked, hot, out of the oven at H-E-B. And then Lenny likes to put garlic and olive oil on it. My sister-in-law helped him do that. Here's those silicones. Okay, we're going to use these to make the little lemon discs. And honestly, I love the way this came out and how easy it was. So I'm just pouring it in here. This was enough to fill up all 6 of these little wells. And I will say it's a little jiggly, so put it on a cookie sheet before you start filling them, because I did lose a little bit of juice during the process of moving this to a cookie sheet, because you can't just put this in your freezer like this with liquid in it like this, because it'll go everywhere, right? But yeah, we're just gonna get all of the juice out in there. I ended up using all of that because some of this spilled out. Here we go. See how great that looks. And then I had to move it to a little thing and then put it in the freezer. And so here's what it looks like after it's frozen. That is so awesome. Like, I am so excited. Label your bag, and then we're just going to pop them out of here and put them in this freezer bag, and then we're going to put it back in the freezer, and being that they're already a frozen hard rock, they're not going to, as long as they don't defrost at all, they shouldn't get stuck together. And then take one of those, put it in your pan to make lemon whatever, defrost it and use it for salad dressing. You get the idea. I love this, and I think I'm going to do it for chicken broth as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We've already got more content coming out and recorded. We're so excited, and we will see you in the next video.